Hey everyone, today I am going to share with you this 2014 Ford Focus ST, which just might be the absolute best performance car bargain that you can buy today. Now, the Focus ST was produced from 2013 to 2018. Unfortunately, you can't buy these new anymore. Ford has cut out their small cars in the US to make way for trucks and SUVs. But that means that now they're used, the prices have come down to a pretty affordable range. Now, it's equipped with a turbocharged 2-liter EcoBoost engine that makes 252 horsepower. People were buying these new for less than $20,000 at the time. That's a lot of car for the money. But now, prices on used examples have gotten down into the $10,000 range. That's a lot of performance for the money. Okay, time for a quick tour and inspection of this particular Focus ST to see if it has any issues that need attention. So we'll start off with the exterior and we'll do a quick walk around. Well, right off the bat, you can see that it has aftermarket wheels on it. So there might be some modifications that this particular car has. We'll take a look. Coming around here to the front, I also noticed that the front bumper here has been painted on the lower section black to kind of match the grille, and it's starting to peel up in a few spots. It looks like it might be plastic dip or something like that, so that might just peel right off. There is some curb rash on the wheels, as you can see there, that would need some attention. The rear spoiler has been painted black as well. It does have an aftermarket exhaust system, as you can see there. Looking underneath it, it looked to be a catback system. Looking down the driver's side, I don't see any dents or damage, not even really any dings, which is nice. Lights all look good, no issues there. The back looks good, the bumpers look good. This side looks good. Small little door ding in the front door there, but nothing big at all. A little bit of curb rash here on this wheel as well. So overall condition of the exterior is excellent for a car that has 121,000 miles on it. All right, let's check the hatch area. So the original mats are in here, that's good. Always want to take a look and make sure that your spare is in here and the tools, and it looks like everything is here. Okay, a quick look at the interior, and the only real issues that I've seen with this car so far is just it's got some soiled seats, some stains there, but no rips or tears in any of the upholstery, no cracks in the dash. Everything looks to be pretty good. The only other thing I noticed is that there is definitely some wear here on the stock shift knob. Back seat also looks to be in good shape. No rips, no tears, no issues. So again, like the exterior, the inside of this car looks to be pretty well kept for a 121,000 mile car. Okay, let's take a quick look underneath the hood. Take a look at the engine. Now, Focus STs kind of have a weird hood release latch. It's over here on the right side. There's a little yellow latch, and you got to push it over towards the driver's side in order to lift up the hood. Okay, here it is, the 2-liter EcoBoost engine, and a little dirty underneath here, but nothing out of the ordinary. It has what appears to be an aftermarket air cleaner. Now, the housing that it's sitting in is stock. The whole intake track is stock. What they did was they put a aftermarket air cleaner inside the original box and then just left the cover off to get a little more air in there. As you can see, it is really dirty, and that would either need to be changed or cleaned very quickly. Otherwise, everything else underneath here looks stock with the exception of the oil filler cap, but no big deal there. Everything else appears to be in its place. So we'll check the oil. and not too bad. It seems to be filled, a little bit dirty, probably in need of an oil change. Otherwise, I don't see anything underneath here that would really alarm me. When you're looking at a car in this price range and with this many miles, the real important key factors are to get maintenance history. You want to make sure that it's been maintained properly. That's a big deal. So don't be afraid to ask for that. So one of the things you want to do when you're inspecting one of these cars is to turn the wheel so that the tire sticks out like this, because you want to inspect all of the tread, especially the inside, because what will happen is these will wear the inside tread out sometimes a lot faster than the outside because of camber, or because they're spinning the tires too much, depending on how it's been driven. These front tires look pretty decent. They are somewhat worn, maybe about halfway. And back here, the rear tires actually look really good. Okay, now time for a little history on the Ford Focus ST and what makes them unique. So Ford first introduced the ST in 2012 as a 2013 model. And it was really Ford's first real contender into the hot hatch class in almost a decade, since the 2004 Focus SVT. The entire Focus lineup was all new for 2012, and it marked a final departure from the prior Mazda-based models, even though some chassis and mechanical bits were still based on Mazda designs. Compared to the standard Focus models, the ST features a much more aggressive exterior design, including redesigned front and rear bumpers, a larger air intake and front grille, larger rear spoiler, wider side sills, a center exit exhaust, and unique 18 by 8 inch alloy wheels. The engine is an all-new, turbocharged and direct injected 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes an impressive 252 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 270 foot-pounds of torque at 2,500 RPM. This engine is based on the 2-liter Duratec found in the standard Focus models, which is actually derived from the 2-liter Mazda L-Series engines. The engine block in the ST is the same as the base Duratec, but everything else is different, including a unique head, fuel injection system, and Ford's TI VCT variable valve timing system. Even though this engine has Mazda DNA, it should not be confused with the 2.3-liter DISI Turbo used in the Mazda Speed 3. These two engines share very little aside from the same basic engine block design. The only transmission available is a 6-speed manual that is unique to the Focus lineup, as base Focus models only offer a 5-speed manual. ST models also come equipped with a revised sport suspension with much quicker steering, and also have larger upgraded brakes with a torque vectoring system to help limit wheel spin and understeer. Inside, it has a trio of additional gauges mounted on top of the dash, standard sports seats with special ST stitching, a unique leather-wrapped steering wheel with an ST badge, a leather-wrapped shift knob with alloy bevel cap and leather boot, unique instrument panel finish, aluminum pedals, and unique ST door sill scuff plates. So that about covers the basic specification and what makes an ST unique. Now it's time to get it out on the road and take it for a test drive. Okay, we are behind the wheel of this 2014 Ford Focus ST. Now, before I get into all of the details about these cars, I wanted to let you know that I actually owned one of these cars. I bought one brand new back in 2013 when they first came out. I was looking for a do-it-all car, something that I could drive every day that got reasonable gas mileage, and I could fit my kids in the back seats, I could haul some stuff in the back, and go autocrossing on the weekends. At the time, I had 2 teenagers that were driving, so they both had cars. I just didn't have the space to have a daily driver and a race car. So I needed something that would do it all. I originally had looked at cars like the Mazda Speed 3, the Mazda RX-8, the Subaru WRX, to name a few, and had, in fact, the reason why I even went to the Ford dealership to begin with was because I was looking at the new Fiesta ST, which had just come out. Well, I ended up driving the Focus and really fell in love with it because it offered a lot of bang for the buck. In fact, at the time, it was cheaper to buy one of these than it was the Fiesta, and it's just a bigger car with more power. So I know these things pretty well, and the power is very strong. These put a smile on my face every time. I really enjoyed my ownership experience. I owned it for 3 years. I put 78,000 miles on it, and I was actually able to earn 2 back-to-back national championships in the G Street class with SCCA autocrossing in 2014 and 2015. So obviously this test drive is nothing new to me. Okay, so I put it in the sport mode, which disables traction control and then kind of limits the stability control. We'll see how this thing can accelerate. Well, first and second gear are pretty useless. This thing will smoke the tires almost instantly. These EcoBoost engines make a lot of torque, 270 foot-pounds to be exact. You don't have to rev these cars out to make a lot of power. In fact, sometimes you find yourself short shifting to take advantage of all that low-end torque. They run out of steam past 5,500 RPM. Past that, you know, redline is 6750, but it's making more noise than power up in that rev range. The cool thing is that even though peak torque's 2,500 RPM, most of that is available almost off of idle. In fact, they almost drive like a normally aspirated engine. There's almost zero turbo lag. You can't even hardly tell that it's a turbocharged engine most of the time. All Focus STs come equipped with a 6-speed manual. No DCTs or dual clutches or DSGs, none of that. Simple mechanical 6-speed manual transmission. Now, a lot of the modern hot hatches that are coming out today have limited slip differentials. The Civic Si has one, so does the Type R, the Veloster N, all for examples. Unfortunately, Ford didn't equip one of these with a limited slip diff. That being said, they do have what they call torque vectoring, which actually uses the brakes to limit wheel spin. The problem with that is that really only works in corners. You have to have some steering angle for that system to engage. If you're driving in a straight line like what we just did back there, it's off, it doesn't work, and it just is fighting to put all of that torque and power through the front wheels, and it's got torque steer and it's got wheel spin. It's a very raw driving experience. That's first gear, second gear, even a little bit of wheel spin in third gear. Now, one of the things that make Focus STs so much fun to drive is how quick the steering is. These are lightning quick with the way that they turn in, whether it be on a twisty mountain road or an autocross environment. What they have is they have revised control arms, revised steering knuckles to help aid in that quick turn in. The downside to that is the turning radius of these cars. It's as if it's a big rig. You know, you got to make a 16-point turnaround every time you want to do a U-turn, it seems like. So not a great turning radius, but it definitely livens up the steering feel and feedback that you get. Now, one thing you might be able to hear through the microphone is this car's pretty loud. Now, as I showed you earlier, it has an aftermarket exhaust system, but that's only part of the story as to these cars and the noise they make. These have what they call a sound symposer, which is essentially a device that pumps intake noise into the cabin here, so you get kind of this deep rumble when you get on the gas. Some people really like it. It gives it kind of a character for sure. However, I'm not a big fan of it. It's kind of artificial in the noise that it makes. It sounds more rough and, I don't know, rumbly, if that makes any sense. It doesn't sound high-tech like a 4-cylinder turbo should sound. So I'm going to show you here in a little bit a quick, easy way to disable that without completely removing it. There are kits out there to remove it, but you don't need to go through all of that to disconnect it. The brakes on these cars are unique to the ST compared to lesser Focuses. Bigger rotors, as you would expect, also bigger calipers. Now, it's nothing fancy like Brembos or anything like that. It's a single piston design, floating caliper, nothing extravagant. But they work really, really well. I've had good luck with my car. The brakes worked well in an autocross environment. I did upgrade the brake pads, but I didn't encounter a lot of fade or issues with heat in an autocross environment. Now, if you're gonna go do track days, yeah, you're gonna wanna upgrade the brake pads and possibly the fluid as well. In my experience, the stock brakes are good for a lap, maybe two, before you encounter a lot of brake fade. Now, one quick note about the brakes. These cars, while not impossible, are very difficult to heel toe on your downshifts. The way the brake pedal and the gas pedal are oriented, it's just not a real friendly design. You got to kind of contortion your foot quite a bit in order to do it, and it makes it hard to do it smoothly. Ride quality. Well, let's just say it's not the smoothest riding car you're ever going to get in. There's definitely a rawness and a firmness to this car. If you have the ability to take an extended test drive, definitely do it, especially if your commute involves bumpy roads or freeways. If you're into a sporty feel, this is definitely going to be a good car for you. They're just not the softest riding car out there. So there are 3 trim levels of Focus STs that you can get. There's ST1, ST2, and ST3. So the ST1 is the base model. That's what we're driving here today. Standard cloth seats. In fact, these seats are the same seats that you would find in an SE Focus. Obviously, the color's a little different on the seat, and it's got the ST embroidered in the backrest. It's a nice seat. It has very breathable cloth that has, I don't know, kind of a grippy surface. It holds you in pretty well. The bolsters aren't super deep, but they work pretty well at keeping you locked in. ST1s have standard manual climate controls, no touch screen, just your standard stereo system, no power seat. You could get a couple of options like a sunroof on them, but that was about it. Other than that, it was just picking the color. When you jump up to an ST2, ST2s give you Recaro seats that are covered partially in leather. So like the inset of the seat is still cloth and the bolsters are leather. ST2 also gets you a touchscreen and Sony premium sound system with a subwoofer in the back. ST3 essentially gets you all of the ST2 equipment, plus it gives full leather Recaro seats, and it has HID lighting and a couple other little things. So that's the basic way to tell the difference between them. Now, I chose, when I bought mine, an ST1 for the purpose of I wanted the lightest model. I wanted the model with the least amount of equipment so that I could get the curb weight as light as possible for competition. With lightweight race wheels and a lightweight exhaust, that enabled me to get my Focus ST down under 3,000 pounds in race trim, 2997 to be exact. That is fun. It's amazing how much power these cars make for the amount of money it takes to buy one. What a bargain. Now, a couple little tricks. First off, this car has what they call a sound symposer, and basically what it is it's a device that pumps intake noise into the cabin so you can hear the engine more clearly. So there is a way to disconnect that system. Now, some people completely remove it. As you can see, as I'm pointing down here, there is a hose, and that hose goes all the way up and around and up here. That is the intake sound symposer that is going into the cabin. There's a lot of parts that go with that, and you can remove it, and there's kits that you can get that block off where it mounts down here to the intake manifold. You can do that if you want. However, there is a quick little easy way to disconnect it. And if you look down here, right down here is a little plug that you can disconnect, and that's the electronic part of this. And what it does is it closes it up, and then you can't hear it anymore. Now, as you can see, these seats fold down to create a bigger cargo area, but it's a little tricky, and here's why. If I come over here and I grab the little latch, pull it down, boom, it hits the front seat. So there's a couple different things you can do. First of all, you need to get this headrest off, and you push a little button here and it slides up, and you can put it down here. The other thing that will help making the seat go down, see, as you notice, it comes down and it's not flat like this. What you can do is you can actually pull up on the bottom of the seat like so. That goes forward, and then this can come down and you have a flat floor. Now, with both seats folded down flat like that, these cars can actually hold quite a bit of stuff. In fact, I've been able to fit 4 tires and wheels, jack stands, even an easy up, and all my gear for a race weekend, including a cooler full of beer, all in the back of one of these cars. It makes it a very useful dual purpose car. Now it's time for my final verdict on the Ford Focus ST. Plus, I'll give you my top pick as to which model you should be looking for if you're shopping for one of these cool hot hatches. Okay, first up, thumbs down. Number 1, build quality and fit and finish. Well, when you think of cars that have a luxurious interior, Ford's small car lineup probably isn't going to rise to the top of that list. Rough panel textures, hard plastic surfaces, exterior panel gaps that have people constantly asking if your hood is open, you get the idea. The Ford Focus ST is a lot of performance for the money, but it's certainly not a lot of luxury for the money. My second thumbs down is ride quality. The Focus ST is definitely a firm riding hatchback. In fact, more so than other hot hatches. Contributing to this is a rear sway bar design that is actually designed to bind up. Now, that certainly helps with turn-in response and handling feel, but it makes the ride jittery in your daily commute. My final thumbs down, unfortunately, is the Recaro seats. As great as they look, I personally found them uncomfortable. So be sure to spend a little time driving one to see if they fit you. Okay, now it's time for my thumbs up. Number 1, the 2-liter EcoBoost engine. With 252 horsepower and 270 foot-pounds of torque on tap, this engine boasts numbers not typically seen anywhere near its mid-$20,000 base sticker price. It makes right now power with almost 0 turbo lag, and they respond very well to modifications. My second thumbs up is handling ability. Now, I've driven a lot of performance front-wheel drive cars over the years, and the Focus ST is at or near the top of the list of best handling front-wheel drive cars that I've ever driven. The turn-in response is so good, and the rear of the car is so lively that the term understeer almost never comes up. Whether it's a twisty mountain back road or an autocross course, these cars always amaze me at how much fun a front-wheel drive car can be. My final thumbs up is performance for the money. There aren't many modern day performance cars that boast 250 plus horsepower that can be bought for less than $15,000. So the mere fact that examples exist for almost $10,000 puts this car into bargain territory in my opinion. Finally, it's time for Mark's top pick as to which Focus ST you should shop for if you're looking for one. Well, I don't normally recommend going after the first year of any particular car. However, in this case, my recommendation is to find the nicest example of a 2013 that you can find in whatever trim configuration you want. From my research, the 2013 and even the 2014 will be the lightest years. They will certainly also be the cheapest. And the 2013 has a unique front strut and spring that allows bolt-on aftermarket shocks. Companies such as Koni made bolt-in aftermarket shocks when the 2013 models first came out. But Ford changed the front spring and strut design for 2014. Unfortunately, those companies never made revised units for the 2014 to 2018 STs. Now, Ford literature mentions front suspension changes for the 2015 plus models. However, all reports say spring rates are the same. So the only real reason to get a 15 to 18 would be for the revised styling and more features, which are all good things. However, in my opinion, it's not worth the weight penalty or the price penalty of what you can get a 2013 for. Well, that wraps up my review and buyer's guide on the Ford Focus ST, a car that I feel is truly a modern day performance car bargain. Be sure to check out my other video where I go in depth and cover all of the model changes from every year of the Focus ST. Plus, I explain how to set up a Focus ST to win in SCCA Autocrossing. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe for more interesting car review videos.